Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Secretary of Tourism, Culture and Transportation, Nadine Stewart-Phillips, addresses the media.
Today, in my capacity as Secretary of Tourism, Culture and Transportation, I am here to speak specifically on the Tobago Jazz Experience 2018, and of course, I'm joined with the Executive Chairman of the Tobago Festivals Commission, Mr. George Leacock. This year, we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Tobago Jazz Experience, and I would like to thank all the persons who worked towards the preservation of this festival from its inception to present. Of course, as you are aware, there are a number of persons that worked over the years, over the past 9 years, in bringing us to ensure we can celebrate 10 years. I acknowledge again that we were off to a very late start for this year's event. However, I would like to extend commendations again to Mr. Leacock, members of the Board of Commissioners, the Tobago Festivals Commission, and members of staff for their commitment and resilience in ensuring that this flagship festival tourism event came to fruition. As announced previously by the Executive Chairman and also myself, we will have 2 days of entertainment for 2018 with Jazz in the East being held at Speyside Recreational Ground on Saturday 28th and International Music Night at Pigeon Point Heritage Park on Sunday 29th. Jazz in the East starts at 6 p.m. and the selected acts have been posting exciting rehearsal videos, and these acts need no introduction. Patrons are asked to accept the directions of the police officers on duty, of course, because we are expecting an influx of persons in Speyside on Saturday. Their main priority will be to keep roadways clear so that the traffic will flow as smoothly as possible, and of course ensures that everyone is in Speyside to hear Taurus Riley. I remember it was a couple years ago, Taurus Riley was on stage and my sister was stuck in Kingsby, couldn't even get to Speyside, right? So we are hoping that the arrangements are smoother for 2018. All available vacant spaces will be utilized, and patrons are requested and asked to be patient and to consider the rights of drivers and, of course, the emergency vehicles. International Night at Pigeon Point will actually be a day-night affair. Gates will open at 2:30 p.m. and performances will start at 3:30 p.m. Every effort has been made to extend the turnover time between acts only as long as necessary to assure there is first-class performance. I am particularly heartened as the Secretary by the number of private and charitable organizations that have capitalized on the buzz of the Tobago Jazz Experience to continue their traditional events and welcome the new events that add options for our visitors. We have the initiative of Robert Washington, which is the kind of entrepreneurial effort that the Tobago Jazz Experience wants to engender. Of course, there are a number of other fringe events as well that will take place over the course of this weekend. The efforts of our sponsors are applauded. They include NLCB, Flow, Courts, Angostura, Carib, AMCO, and Caribbean Airlines. These sponsors some would have donated in cash and some would have donated in kind as well. I want to especially applaud the efforts of the Ministry of Finance, the Budget Division, the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and the Environment, the Division of Finance and Economy, the Tobago Tourism Agency, the Board and Management of the Pigeon Point Heritage Park, Customs and Excise Division, Immigration, other state entities and the various units within the Division of Tourism, Culture and Transportation, all of these persons who played important roles in ensuring that the Tobago Jazz Experience 2018 is executed. Special mention I must make also the management and staff of First Citizens Bank Tobago, who efficiently managed all our foreign exchange transactions. All elements of security services are engaged, as well as the first responders, TEMA, and the health services. I am grateful for the efforts and collaboration of all agencies as we look forward to their continued support over the weekend. The Port Authority and Caribbean Airlines, of course, we had the return of the T&T Spirit, and they are all working and cooperating and going the extra mile. I know Mr. Leacock as well has been having conversations to ensure that things are smooth for even leading up to the jazz weekend, and they have given us the assurance. We met with representatives of Caribbean Airlines at a meeting headed by the Honorable Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles on Monday. We met with them, and they gave us the assurance, Caribbean Airlines gave us the assurance that persons wishing to travel from Trinidad, once they have a jazz ticket, they would be given priority coming to Tobago and, of course, returning to Trinidad. Caribbean Airlines also issued a press release highlighting all the increased flights and, of course, assuring persons coming to Trinidad that there should not be any problems going back safely. I am also heartened by the level of enthusiasm by members of the public, specifically over the last 2 weeks, about the Tobago Jazz Experience, and I do look forward to the patronage that the event is expected to receive from you, the residents, and of course the visitors to the island of Tobago. I would like to reiterate that the Tobago Jazz Experience is one of the main tourism festivals and flagship events as it seeks to boost visitor arrivals to the destination and, of course, stimulate economic activity. And I want to encourage all our tourism stakeholders to maximize on these opportunities, and in addition to our tourism stakeholders, our business persons, our entrepreneurs, to maximize on the economic activity that will be stimulated over the weekend, and of course to ensure that our visitors have a wonderful and memorable experience. Vendors at the Tobago Jazz Experience have been asked to comply with the Tobago House of Assembly's position on the use of biodegradable containers. The Tobago Jazz Experience will also benefit from the efforts of this green event. Private sector entities have contributed in cash and kind towards the collection of all the materials for recycling. We wish to assure patrons that all our contracted performers will give full concert performances backed by their bands, live backup singers, and in some cases even dancers. And so, of course, we encourage all of you to come out in your numbers and witness these performances, and of course to support our local economy, all the vendors that would be on hand, etc.
There's a very important starting announcement that I want to make, if you could term it an announcement. We have agreed in collaboration with the Division of Finance and the Economy to engage the services of Dr. Ralph Henry and his research group to do a comprehensive economic impact assessment of the Tobago Jazz Experience. I think that's very, very important, because I think that members of the public do have the right to ask the question about the potential benefits of the festival. We as a festival commission also need to know in real terms, not merely a statement, well, you know, hotel was full or hotel was not full, or taxi drivers made money or vendors made money. But in a real sense, we want to know what the economic impact of having the festival is on Tobago, and Dr. Henry and his team are extremely reputable. The Division of Finance is of the view that that information is also important for their ongoing research. The budget presented by the government of Trinidad and Tobago last year, and even the matters that came out in the budget debate, is that there is a position taken by the state that festivals in Tobago should be developed so that they contribute to the tourism product. And the days of doing things of that nature merely by feel are long past. We must have scientific information to present, and we are very happy to be able to tell you that we will be in a position to provide that information. From a logistics point of view, you always, as a promoter of an event, I suppose, wish you had a little bit more time. But the experience that we have on hand, there's a structured rollout of activity, and everything that is important is not necessarily urgent. Some things may become urgent tomorrow because tomorrow is the day that they must be done, but they're not urgent today. It's like putting together a giant puzzle, not one that's horizontal, but one that's vertical. So you have to put in the groundwork first. There are certain things you have to do on the ground before you can do other things. And that's where we are, and we're happy with the progress. We're going to be going on site again today, again tomorrow, and there's a final security meeting on site on Friday, where we do our best to ensure the top quality experience for patrons. There are a number of phases in event management, booking and getting the artists in, having the advertising done and all of that. Now we are essentially in the delivery phase, and we are certain that the artists are coming prepped to deliver, and we have to just put the infrastructure and all the surrounding things in place to give them the best opportunity to do that. And let me also say that includes the national instrument, and we have had to make some special arrangements to put the steel pan on the stage as opposed to on the ground, on the side, on a side stage or anything of the sort. And we are trying to complete system setup to allow for all of the local performers to get some play time, as opposed to sound check and you're in for 10 minutes and you're out of there. Play time to really go on the stage and play and get comfortable in that environment, used to the sound coming back to you at the particular volume it would come back to you. Make sure that you're used to the monitors and all of that, because we want, when presentations start happening, everybody who presents has an opportunity to present at their best, and we also have a tremendous amount of faith in those people from Tobago and Trinidad who have been selected, and we want to ensure that they're in a position to do their best.
I know you would have spoken to I-95 and you would have stated that in terms of the festival last year, in terms of economics, it wasn't really viable. Why do you think we are doing the festival again in terms of bringing in monies, breaking even instead of making a profit? What's your view on that?
Okay. I don't think that at any point I intended to communicate that the festival was not viable. In fact, the finding of the inquiry into the festival was that it was a festival that should be continued, because it continues to have the potential to impact positively on the economy of Tobago, and by extension the economy of Trinidad and Tobago. What may have been missing is a proper quantification of what that means. And with the employment of the survey team, we are certain that we're going to get that information, and get that information, I suppose, in a couple of ways. One way, telling you what you did, and also providing you guidance with what you need to do going forward.
Are you going to employ Mr. Henry's team for the other festivals as well? For all of the other festivals?
A decision hasn't been taken, but all of the festivals that we do have, there is included in the budget a sum for study and assessment of the festivals. For the Tobago Heritage Festival of 2000 and last year, 17, the study was undertaken by the research unit in the Division of Tourism. So that it's not always, and particularly depending on the size of the festival and what we're trying to do, that we will engage an external entity. There are possibilities of using internal resources, both from us and maybe even from the Division of Finance.
I don't know if you had liberty to disclose as yet, but there have been some issues about the stage for Speyside and some of the infrastructure for Speyside that was raised on social media. I don't know if you want me to call it out for you. With some figures quoted, I don't know if they're true or not. You could confirm or deny the figures. And
well, seeing that I'm not on social media,
all right.
You'd have to call it out for me.
All right. So the individual is claiming that the stage is going to cost us $140,000, whereas in the past it may have cost around $50,000 to $60,000. The VIP deck is $40,000. To decorate the VIP deck is $35,000, leading to a total of $215,000 for, I guess that would just be some of the infrastructure at Speyside. Are these figures correct?
I don't think that it would be fair to the providers of goods and services to the festival to present information about any one provider in the absence of information with all of the providers. So that I would prefer to wait till when the festival is done and to confirm all of the areas of expenditure with which we really don't have a problem. What I can say to you is, when you are into creating a space for the presentation of a festival, you define that space in a number of ways. One of it, you define it based on the demands of the performers, and then you also define it based on the budget that you have available to you. And with all of the providers of goods and services for the festival, those providers in Tobago and those providers in Trinidad, we have looked at comparative information. We have negotiated to the best of our ability, to the point where some individuals thought that we were being a little bit harsh and so on, and we have gotten the best prices available for the service of the kind. When you say a stage, for example, what does a stage include? Is it just the area that people are standing on, or does it include a roof? Does it include lights? Does it include video screens? Does it include any other amount of things, including there are some things called risers that go on the stage for the purpose of putting drums and keyboards and all of that. So to look merely at it and say it's just a stage would not be defining what is being provided in its entirety.
I would just like to know who is the lawyer representing the THA in the D'Angelo court matter?
As I would have stated here and even in the House, the legal department of the Tobago House of Assembly is now handling every aspect of this case. As such, I am not at liberty to give any information. However, I am sure once contacted, the lawyers at the Tobago House of Assembly would provide you with information, but I am not at liberty to give any details whatsoever.
Mr. Leacock, could you clarify the shuttle system from Scarborough to Speyside? How will that work?
I am not sure that there's a shuttle system from Scarborough to Speyside. I am given to sometimes putting across things maybe in a humorous manner, and sometimes people don't all get the joke. One maxi taxi driver approached the Festival Commission for assistance in getting the word out that he was prepared to take people to Speyside and back. You parked your car in town and he was going to drive you to Speyside and back. When I last spoke to him, his maxi is full and he is now filling other people's maxis. The secretary referred to it earlier when she spoke about Washington and his initiative. It is a private initiative. There are several other persons who have contacted maxi taxis privately and have put together either a group of 10 for a 10-seater or a group of 25 for a 25-seater, and that's their direct arrangement with the maxi operators. We highlighted it just like we highlighted all of the fringe events, because that is the kind of initiative we want to see coming out of the society. And really great credit to Washington and his effort. And as he was done and people started calling him, apparently he's called other maxi taxi drivers and they have joined. So we don't know how far it's going to go eventually.
The economic assessment being done by Dr. Ralph Henry, is that kind of the same thing or part of what would have happened before in the assessment of the event by a team that was put together by the THA, by another assessment, or is this just specific to economics because the assessment before was not specific to the economics of the whole event?
Are you referring to the team that looked at the festival last year?
Yes.
Okay, so the team that assessed the festival last year would have only had available to it the information that was presented in terms of records. I don't know if there were assessments before. The model presented by Dr. Henry will gather its own information, would have people doing surveys in the field, would have access to the spending of the festival, mechanisms of delivery and all of that, and it will be comprehensive. It will, from what I recall from the document presented, it will include actually meeting with taxi drivers, meeting with hotels, trying to assess how many cars were rented. There's reference in the document to data to be gathered from the airline, data to be gathered from the seaport and all of that, so that it is not limited by merely looking at the report and the information, but they have created their own matrix, their own data models that they want to collect, their own models for the data that they want to collect, and so on. And the research design is a significant part of it, and the research design is one that we have accepted.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending April 28, 2018.